Every Sunday, we talk about the very best comic books of the week. The comic books you don't waste your money on, the ones that are actually worth your time invested into it. We got a lot of comic books, a lot of Image comics this week. They released a lot of comic books, a lot of their good comic books. And here to talk with me about that is Drew from Comics Elite. How you doing, Drew?
Doing well. I'm unusually well-dressed. But
very dapper.
Very dapper. But yeah, let's talk about some comics. There's some great comics this week.
And Drew has a special message for you at the end. So if you want to hear from Drew on a project that he's working on, definitely wait at the end and get some deets on that. So let's start out with the indie comics. We're going to have a lot of Image comic books to talk about. My first recommend is Rogue Sun #4, Ryan Parrott and Abelard Art. I've liked this pretty much from the very beginning, but this is the issue that really turns the series up on its head. We get some major reveals. We get the introduction of a new villain that looks very powerful, has a really creepy character design. All the home life stuff is blowing up in his face, and this is a lot of family angst in this comic book.
Everything really comes to a head in this issue. One of my favorite parts of this, if not the best part, was something I called out as a criticism I had in issue 2 or so about him being a bully in school. And that comes back full circle in this issue. And it was perfect. It was beautiful. Loved it. Yeah, I really love this issue. A lot of drama in this issue, but hey, it's good drama. I cannot wait to read issue 5. Yeah, Rogue Sun. This is a terrific read and the best of their Radiant Black line right now.
If you were on the fence on Rogue Sun, if you get to issue #4 and you're still not into it, I just don't think you probably like the series. But if you get to this point, I think you probably will like it because it really does drive home a lot of things, and you can see where Rogue Sun's moving in the future. Now let's go to my other big recommendation, also Image Comics, Stillwater #13, Chip Zdarsky, Ramon Perez. This thing has trickled out a little bit. It hasn't been coming out monthly as it had before. It's a really interesting take on immortality. There's this special little town, and one of their favorite sons, well, I guess he was kind of lost, and he ends up coming back. And this thing is heading towards the finish line. I believe this is the final arc, and it starts out with some really grotesque imagery. We see the main character is essentially being burned alive, but he does survive. And what are they going to do with Gale and all these kids? And it's an interesting take, and we've seen that the boundaries of Stillwater itself are expanding. Very, very good story.
This is one series that one of the few you've recommended that I have not had a chance to really read yet. Like I read the one short story that they did in the Image Skybound X or whatever it was. It was good. I haven't had a chance to really go back and read it. And, you know, like you said, another problem is we really don't order it that much because it comes out so inconsistently. So, but yeah, at some point I do mean to go back and check that out.
Well, definitely do. And I do wish it came out monthly. It was a little bit more regular as far as the release. Sometimes it's like, Stillwater came out this week. I wasn't expecting that because you don't have that rhythm with it. But it is a fantastic story. If you like Tuck Everlasting and some of those other takes on immortality and kind of what it means, let's just say Chip Zdarsky doesn't think it would be a good idea to be immortal. He thinks it would come with a lot of baggage and a lot of unintended consequences that weren't fun.
If you didn't get it from the Highlander, you probably get it from this.
Absolutely. Now, I didn't get to read as many comic books this week. My kids have been sick. So normally I would have read Ice Cream Man #30 by now, but I haven't gotten to it. But you are recommending it. W. Maxwell Prince, Martin Morazzo on art.
Absolutely. This series is only getting better. Oh, my God. So we have a scientist in a testing lab. He's conducting a low-level hallucinogen test on 2 men to see if there's benefits of using it on healthy adults. And then things just get stranger and crazier and nastier and scarier and creepier. Both guys start experiencing different side effects, and all I'm going to say is that before I turn each page, I am terrified of what I might discover on the next. It is so unsettling and so good, such a wild ride, and by the end of it, you're like, wait, what? What's going on here? Terrific read, terrific series, Ice Cream Man #30.
Yeah, W. Maxwell Prince has really been knocking it out of the park. He's got his other series, haha. I think this one actually is kind of the superior one. But if you like horror and you haven't been reading Ice Cream Man, you are missing out on some really just nasty stuff that this guy comes up with. Gunslinger Spawn #8, Todd McFarlane, Brett Booth. Is this the best looking comic book out there today? It might be the best illustrated comic you can get your hands on.
You are 100% correct. The art by Brett Booth is so flipping gorgeous, so detailed. We almost don't deserve his art. His art is too good for us, honestly, the way I see it, especially by today's standards. I mean, the price point is $2.99. It's amazing what we're getting Brett Booth art for. And it's a fun story, too. The gunslinger, he discovers he runs into an old friend, if you will, from back in the day. How is she still alive? I don't know. And this guy that he's tied in with, he's got some pretty nasty things going on with him. And we also discover where this story falls in the timeline with the other Spawn titles, which is very important. But yeah, like you said, the biggest selling point is the Brett Booth art. And honestly, if you don't think he's next level, like Super Saiyan level, at this point, I don't know what's wrong with you. He is a god among insects. Brett Booth, Gunslinger Spawn number 8, best of the Spawn line, one of the best from Image. $2.99, you can't beat it.
It's definitely the best value out in comic books. You get a lot of bang for your buck. You have fantastic art and a pretty fun story. Really, really enjoy that one. Now let's go over to Vault Comics. This is the only one that's not Image Comics as far as your recommendations in the indie scene. The Rush number 6, Cy Sprayer, Nathan Gooden. You've been on this one since issue number 1. What's going on now?
So this is the final issue. This wraps up the whole series. So we finally get the big revelation about her son, what happened to him. And we also might get the return of a certain character that we thought had died in the previous issue. It gets violent, it gets nasty, it gets crazy toward the end, and I believed it was a very solid wrap up to the series. Rush number 6. It is a fantastic issue, and the art is breathtaking as well. You got to check it out. If
you're going to buy one Cy Sprayer comic book this week, do not get Legion of X. Get Rush number 6.
Absolutely. Yes.
So let's move over to Marvel Comics, and we will not be talking about Legion of X today, at least. I'll be talking about it with Doc later on. I'm recommending Moon Knight number 11, Jed MacKay, Alessandro Cappuccio. This thing has been dynamite since the beginning, and it's only getting better. This is really focusing in, it felt like Harvest Moon was the big villain. Mm-hmm. He's still in here a little bit, but it's all about Zodiac. And Zodiac, he wants to corrupt Moon Knight. And he's really putting Moon Knight through his paces, and he's quite the arch nemesis for a character like Moon Knight. And he's trying to drive him to the dark side, essentially.
I love it. Yeah, he tells him, like, everything around you, this mission, the people, the doctor, your friends, all of them have made you weak. You're not what you used to be. It's far away from what you used to be. We want to bring you back. Moon Knight has one mission in this: save the doctor. Nothing else matters. Loved it. It's perfect. But yeah, he said the art is terrific as well. Dialogue is amazing. The pacing is terrific. This is arguably, as far as the current timeline in continuity goes, Moon Knight is the best, right in front of Peter David stuff. Moon Knight is the best from Marvel, what they're offering right now. Jed MacKay is knocking it out of the park.
Now, the other Marvel comic that you're recommending this week is Hulk number 7, Donny Cates, Martin Coccolo. I believe this is the third part of the Banner of War Hulk versus Banner thing, and we're seeing all kinds of weird stuff happen to these characters, and it's kind of just getting bigger and bigger.
It's getting bigger and bigger, but like I said, this is just fun. It is a fun series. Turn your brain off and read it. It is terrific. It's Banner versus Iron Man and Thor, but the big difference now is that Hulk, he's got that contraption off his head, and he doesn't know he's not in a simulation now fighting Thor and Iron Man. So yeah, gloves are coming off, real world ramifications now. And by the end of this issue, things have taken a very, 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 very sharp turn. Action-packed, violent as hell, fast-paced. You got to be checking this out. If you have kids, give it to your kids. They're going to love it. Fun escapism. Hulk number 7, Banner of War Part 3.
So those are our Marvel Comics recommendations. Let's move over to DC. We got 3 big DC comics for you. I'm recommending Action Comics 1043, Philip Kennedy Johnson, Ricardo Federici. We're finally getting the revolution. It's beginning. Superman has some of his powers back, and he's leading the assault, but he needs to get back to the Authority and get his hands on them. But what Philip Kennedy Johnson is doing with this story, I think, is really amazing. A lot of people think Superman's so powerful that he can't fight. Well, that is a misnomer, because the man can wield a sword. He can even do it in a non-deadly fashion. I like how he's showing that Clark Kent Superman has a warrior spirit inside of him. We don't always see that in comic books. But what he's really doing is fleshing out Warworld and Mongol. My goodness, this was always kind of a two-dimensional character. There wasn't a whole lot of depth to him, but we're definitely getting that out. He's being fleshed out full, and he really feels like this really powerful, intimidating villain. where in the past I always felt like he was like a second-rate Darkseid or something.
I loved the opening to this. The opening to this comic was perfect. Superman writing in his journal saying, remember your wife and son, and remember what you have to do and what it takes to see them again. That's perfect. That sums it up. And like you said, he is being the badass warrior that he can be. And we see what happens to Manchester Black. It's pretty nasty. But like we also, like you said, we're getting the history of Mongol and the history of Warworld, Mongol's people. He's really fleshing everything out. Yeah, everything is becoming three-dimensional now, not just two-dimensional, which is terrific. Like you said, it was like a throwaway Darkseid in the past. But yeah, what we're getting here is like we're seeing the positives and negatives from all sides on this planet now, which is. But the one thing I will say, I love this up until about the very end when we get a tease about certain stones and gems that Mongols after, and it's like this sounds a little bit familiar to me. But other than that, it's still a great issue. You got to be reading this. Action Comics 1043. It is arguably like it's one of the best, if not the best, from DC Comics right now.
Let's go to your 2 DC recommendations. Task Force Z number 8.
Yeah, you want to talk about a series that I have been on from Jump Street. I mean, I'm going to say something bold here. Something bold. Matthew Rosenberg. Say what you will about him. I think, honestly, he's getting better because I am having so much fun with this series. It is hysterical. There's 2 pages in here with Professor Bloom. He's talking to a lab assistant. My God, it is comedy gold. It is terrific. And this issue, a lot of it deals with Jason and Barbara and Dick, and they're all trying to stop Jason. Jason is on the run from something he stole from Barbara. Amazing. So fast-paced. So much fun. You got to check this out. Task Force Z number 8.
The other comic book that you are recommending, I was on this for a while, but it was just a little bit too decompressed. But I understand that we're finally getting the big payoffs in Swamp Thing. This week we get issue number 13, Ram V, Mike Perkins.
Yeah, I'm loving this series. It's fun. But yeah, we see what this factory in Detroit is, what it's doing to people, and it's pretty effed up what it's doing. And but Swamp Thing and Jack Hawksmoor, they got a plan. Let's try starving this thing. Let's try starving it. See what happens. And by the end of this, yeah, we're getting into some alien plant elements, and also get into the Parliament of Trees. And they're wondering if Levi is the best choice as their avatar to be the Swamp Thing. And it's just fun. It's wild, crazy fun. But I really hope it does stick the landing. And it doesn't copycat something that a certain writer did with another character not too long ago. But yeah, I'm having so much fun with this. And Mike Perkins' art, like another guy, but Brett Booth, he is perfect. He is terrific. Yeah, Swamp Thing 13, so much fun.
I've always loved the Mike Perkins art, especially I really like that Dan Jurgens, what was it, Green Lanterns. They did the very last story arc once they finished it off. Mike Perkins went in there. He was a great Green Lantern artist too. Really
yes, good. He was. But the one series I recommend that he did is The Stand from Marvel Comics. His art in that, the way he draws Randall Flagg, it is terrifying.
Very nice. So we talked about it earlier. You have some big news. Congratulations. Border Blood number 2. You're already fully funded. You're on your way to 30,000. Hell, you might even be there already on Kickstarter. What do you got to say?
I want to say thank you to everyone that's backed it. So everyone that backed issue 1, coming back for issue 2. I wanted to tell a great, heartfelt, strong, badass story about Giaris, future Queen of Sparta. We're going to see her whole life from her alpha to her omega through 6 issues. And she learns another tool in her belt. She learns another tool she can use in this issue. And you're going to have so much fun with this. There's no decompression. It's action-packed, balls to the walls, fun. Yeah, please do check it out. You're not going to regret it.
And if you have not supported and you're interested, there is a link to Border Blood number 2 in the video description as well. So it's only a 2-week campaign, so you got to make a decision fast.
Yeah, that's correct. Forgot to mention that. Yes, 2 weeks only, guys. Yeah, we're trying to get these out to you guys as fast as we can.
Another comic book we've essentially been recommending from the very beginning is Robin from Josh Williamson. Unfortunately, Josh Williamson is leaving the series. I've got all the news on that and why it's not a bad thing, because it's being replaced by something I think people might be even more excited about. It's not Josh Williamson, but it's another writer that's kicking ass and taking names at DC. If you don't know, check it out.